Well, I never did make it down to the pub. But I think I found the next best thing. Now, a pint of beer has to be one of life's great pleasures. But how many people know what goes into making a really good ale? Well, I can tell you, hops, yeast and water. And of course, the main ingredient, a malting barley. And that's why I'm here at Tuckers Maltings in Newton Abbot to find out what makes a really excellent malt. With me is company historian Brian Gates, who's going to shed a bit more light on what is good malt. Brian, thank you very much for meeting up with us this morning. I love this place, I love the atmosphere. Give me a brief history of the firm.
Okay, Edwin Tucker and Sons were established in Ashburton in 1831 as sea merchants and maltsters, and this building itself was actually built in 1900 as a purpose-built floor maltings.
Has it changed much?
No, we're still doing things very much the same, the original way as it was done in 1900. We're still, as you'll see when we go through, turning it all by hand, so nothing has changed hardly at all in the production.
I've got to ask you, what is malt?
It's actually the germinated barley that we bring in from the farms, which we actually grow within the building, which we convert into the finished product, which is malt.
So what are we looking at there? What's that? What's going on there?
What we've actually got here, we've got the drying machine called the Bovey drum dryer. So the first thing we have to do when the barley comes in from the farm is we must dry the grain down. That's quite important because we're going to put it into storage bins.
How long will it take to dry then?
It depends on the moisture content. If it's quite high, it could be about 16%. It could be in there for sort of 4 or 5 hours. But part of the clever thing is we must take it down to 12% moisture because the grain will then go into storage bins and lay quite dormant in there.
There's lots of noise going on in here, but can we make a little bit more? Can I see this work?
Yes, by all means, yes, we're going to arrange it for you, don't worry.
How long's he been down there?
About 100 years or so, I think.
Occupational hazard.
It is.
What is this machine doing?
Right, once we've actually put the grain into the storage bins next door, the first thing we have to do after that is to sort out the grain size.
Why do you sort out the grain size?
Well, part of the theory of the process is that you have an even sized grain so everything will germinate and grow at the same rate downstairs on the germinating floor.
That's quite important.
It is, yes, yes.
Oh.
So once we've actually sorted out the grain size, from there we then transfer it into the steep tanks, which are next door.
After you.
Okay, thank you.
So, after the screening, this all is now uniform barley.
It is, that's right.
Size.
Yeah.
Will this start to germinate?
It will, yeah. Yeah, if you look carefully, you can see it is there at the moment. It's beginning to start.
Yeah. So this gets filled up with water then?
It does, yes, yeah. The idea behind the process here is that we actually put 1,500 gallons of water into the tanks with 6 tons worth of barley, and the barley and the water will spend a total of 2.5 days together in the tank itself. And as it's doing that, it's actually taking in about 45% moisture. But it isn't a straightforward process. What we actually have to do is put the barley and the water together at the beginning of the process, then we draw the water off for 12 hours and just leave the barley in here, and then we fill it back up like this as well. So it goes backwards and forwards like that for 2.5 days.
It's quite labour intensive.
It is labour intensive, yes. But if you didn't do that, what would actually happen is the barley itself will actually drown within the water.
Oh, right. Yes.
So we're aerating it, ready to make it germinate downstairs on the floor.
And I can see 2 little ears of barley have germinated here. Look at this, we've got some...
It's gone a little bit too far as far as we're concerned, but that's what actually will happen, of course. It will actually turn into
trouble.
We would, yes, yeah, we would. It'd be nothing for the brewers, yeah.
The grain is emptied from the steep tanks onto the germinating floor below. There's a totally different smell down
there.
There
is on this floor. Yeah.
More of a farmyard smell.
It is more of a farmyard smell, yeah.
And now it's time for the hard work to begin. The grain is then spread in heaps with the aid of a maltster's barrow and levelled with a malt shovel 6 to 9 inches deep. How many times will Richard have to plough that?
Well, we actually plough it 3 times in 24 hours. That's the idea, because what we're actually doing by ploughing it on the floor, you're actually aerating the grain as well. You're taking the grain from underneath, putting it onto the top, and by doing that, of course, you're actually stopping the rootlets from clinging together, because that's the other problem you could have.
Yes.
If they all cling together, of course, the whole lot will be ruined.
How long will it stay here for?
It will spend 5 days actually growing on the floor, and from here we will then actually take it to the kilns. That's the next part of the process.
gosh. Can we tread on this?
We can, yes, yeah, you can. These are the actual kilns themselves.
Yeah.
So what we're actually doing, the grain will spend a total of 2 days actually in the kilns.
Yeah.
And we're taking the kilns up to 195 degrees Fahrenheit because we're making pale malt.
Right. It's quite damp, isn't it?
It is quite damp, yeah. By the end of the second day, on day 2, this will be quite dry and friable and tasty to eat.
How deep does this kiln get?
It will go up to about 20 inches in height, the actual grain itself.
All right, the red datum line.
That's right, the red line around there, yeah.
I've got to ask you, how do you get all this out of here? By hand with a shovel?
Yes, we do it by hand with shovel the hard way, yeah.
That is job.
Yeah, I'm afraid so, yes.
It's like a big kid's playroom, isn't it?
It is a bit, yes. But it was sand and it's great.
Slowing down now.
It is, that's right.
So this is the final stage of the process?
This is the final stage, yes.
Before
that's
it
right.
gets bagged?
It is, yeah, before it gets bagged.
What's happened to the barley in the meantime, though? It was on the floor for 5 days.
It was, yeah.
Picked up by hand. Yeah. It's changed, hasn't it?
It has changed, yes, it's changed quite a bit. Yeah,
What's happened?
Well, you can see the way it's actually germinated and the rootlets have grown, so it's converting starches into sugars for the brewers.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. But we have to remove those rootlets because they don't play any part in the brewing process.
Okay.
So we chop those rootlets off through a machine downstairs, so it actually looks like that in the end.
And that's
what
your
we're looking
final
for.
product, really?
That's the final product, but it does need just one final clean before it's bagged up for the brewers.
I'm going to head off back to the valuation day to join up with our experts. I'm going to leave you with a very interesting stat. A bag full is equivalent to 600 pints of beer.